Alright guys, this is Vol, and welcome to my first battle report on the first game of the first day of the tournament for this weekend, Fluffycon / Battlecry, the Warhammer tournament that I'm participating in at the moment. Showed up early in the morning for game 1, bright and confident, and realized my opponent is an Orcs and Goblins player. Now, a little bit about my hatred of Orcs and Goblins. It goes back a very long way. 10 years ago when I was first playing Warhammer with High Elves, I used to get slaughtered all the time against Orcs and Goblins. 2 or 3 of my friends actually played with them, and I just wasn't a very good player back then, and High Elves weren't very good compared to Orcs and Goblins, in my opinion, balance-wise, all the way back 10 years ago. But things have changed now, and at this time I'm using Tomb Kings, and as you can see, my army is deployed against my opponent here, and he's got a bunch of Spider Risers, 2 big units of Goblins, 2 big units of Orcs, and some Squigs, as well as a Doom Diver catapult, Doom Diver chucker thing, and a Stone Thrower, as well as some Wolf Riders. And my army is just pretty much massed. You can see all the chariots and cavalry on one flank, and all the archers on the other, with the war machines and melee units in the middle, with scorpions on the sides. A little bit of a better picture over here. You can see the just all of the archers, and you can see the little bases that I've bought to put them on. Made it a lot easier to chuck them around. Okay, next picture. A little bit of extra close up on the chariots over here. I've actually managed to paint them up a little bit more. I've got all the basing done on the chariots, which is fantastic. Army looks very desert-like, which is cool. And deploying the carrion behind the chariots, the reason I've done that is so that I can actually fly them out first turn and then use an incantation on them to either charge his war machines or get in the way of fanatics and so forth. So let's see what actually happens. Let's move to the next picture. Before we get straight stuck into the game, I just want to talk about his army over here. He's got a Snotling Pump Wagon. He's deployed a group of Orcs way out in the flank. His war bosses, along with the Biggins right in the center here, with some support from the Goblins nearby, and Squigs all on the left flank. Alright, so first things first, what happened is that the carrion moved out and actually triggered a whole group of fanatics. 2 of them failed to get anywhere near, and 1 of them, of course, got through and pretty much splattered 2 of the carrions, feathers flying everywhere, and reduced him to, I think, 1 wound. But at least that's the fanatics dealt with, and 1 group of 3 fanatics is roughly equivalent in points to a group of carrion. I think fanatics are slightly cheaper. In fact, probably 10 or so points cheaper, but I really don't want them hitting my cavalry. That's why I've sacrificed the carrion. And of course, the carrion unit hasn't been wiped out, so he hasn't got points for them just yet. Next picture, my cavalry, my chariots rather, heading around on the flank. I forgot to point out that there's a single scorpion on either side. You can see out in the field the carrions dealing with the fanatics, but here is a close-up on my chariots with the Tomb King on the left, and really just getting ready to flank these Orcs and Goblins, and hopefully holding up that Wolf Riders unit, as well as the Goblin Wolf Chariot with the Scorpion, and seeing how that goes. So next photo here shows him moving along the side with his Orcs. These are very old school models. This guy's obviously got a very old army with old models in it, and that's just great. I love the nostalgia feel of that, and the classic look that he's got going. It really reminds me of the old days. But he's charging up the flank with the Snotling Pump Wagon, as well as his boys. Let's go to the next photo of what we've got here. A lot of stuff's happening over here. We've got fanatics flying everywhere. Just some of them are dying, and some of them are hitting his own troops. A lot of arrows shooting left and right. I've managed to shoot down some of his fanatics at this point, and just scoring wounds on people, but nothing too meaty happening at this stage. You can see at the top of the picture he's moved forward with his cavalry a little bit. Let's go to the next picture. At this point, I've actually charged this Goblin Wolf Rider with my Scorpion, which is a really good combat for the Scorpion to be in. Very much in his favor, and that will really deal with the chariot. Really didn't want the chariot charging into the group of my chariots, and hopefully that Scorpion will win the combat to beat the Goblin Wolf Riders. That's happening on the Tomb King right flank. Going to the next picture here, the big cavalry unit and the other chariots unit is just getting ready to charge the Squigs and hopefully break through his line there. And off in the distance, the carrion has actually charged the Doom Diver crew, but there's only 1 left with 1 wound, so I'm not sure if he'll even beat the crew. In fact, I can tell you that the carrion lost the combat and was destroyed. Over in the left-hand flank here for me, he's moving in further with his knobs. I've actually managed to shoot the Snotling Pump Wagon, thank God. That thing potentially does a lot of damage, so having shot it out to pieces with the archers is really good. He's got his spider riders moving in, though, and the scorpion is just hanging back, ready to charge this unit of boys and hopefully assassinate that shaman, because he was whacking at me with several shamans this game, and really I didn't quite have enough magic defense to cope with everything. So assassinating a mage would have been a good way to go. Alright, so next, the Tomb King chariots have just positioned to take out the squig unit. What's happened here is that the cavalry and the chariots have collectively charged the initial squig unit and exploded it. The squigs went wild and rampaged through my units, but I managed to wipe out everybody else. I've dealt with the Goblin Wolf Rider chariot, and the Tomb King and co are hanging back here ready to charge the middle. And at the top right, you can't see in the picture, but the Tomb Scorpion is duking it out with the Goblin Wolf Riders. Down the left-hand side, Tomb King's flank, the archers have reformed, so that they've got the rank bonus against the Spider Riders, which is fantastic. It allows me to survive for a while and allows my second group of archers to charge into the flank of the Spiders. In the meantime, the Orcs have attacked the Scorpion. The Scorpion has actually punished them for that by knocking out a Goblin caster, so that really saves me some pain in the magic phase, allows me to deal with them a bit more effectively, but the Scorpion will eventually be destroyed by the Orcs as a result. I'm going to go to the next picture. This is a nicer picture showing you what's going on in the whole battlefield. As you can see, the chariots, well, there's only one remaining chariot in the mid-ground because they got so badly damaged by war machines and squigs. But further up the field, you can see the Tomb King charging in against the squigs, as well as some support from the cavalry. The Tomb Scorpion right at the back of the table there, dealing with the Goblin Wolf Riders on his own. And we've got a flank charge here in the middle from the Tomb King archers in the flank of the Spider unit, which is going very well there. And he's got his his biggins trapped behind a group of goblins and behind that impassable swamp there. So, and he's failed a lot of animosity checks at this point, so really hampering his maneuvering. That's one thing I found against Orcs and Goblins with the Tomb King's army. I've got a very reliable and maneuverable army, and I can't say the same about his army because he keeps failing animosity checks, and I keep dealing with his faster units. So let's go to the next photo here. This is coming towards a bit closer to the end of the game. The Tomb Kings have charged the squigs in the center. What happened after this is that I totally wiped them out there. So next photo after that. Pretty much the last photo of the game. The skeletons over here charged the Orcs in the flank. The The forest spiders eventually charged the undead back, but the game ended, and it was a very convincing win for the Tomb Kings. So very confident about my first win of the day. They gave me a very inexperienced player, well, relative to my own experience, probably a similar level of experience, me and my opponent there. Really enjoyed this game, and I managed to hammer him. Now, there's a scoring system in place. The maximum number of points you can score for your game is 20. So if you totally trash your opponent and your opponent doesn't get any kills, you get 20 points to his 0, and that gives you a score of 20 going to the next game. So over the 6 games of the weekend, you can score a possible 120. So that's 6 multiplied by 20 gives you 120, but more likely the games will be much closer, and your score will be sort of closer to 10 or so. If the game is a draw, both players get 10 points. Now, I managed to walk away with this with a score of 13 against my opponent's 3 or something like that. Or might have been something like 17-3, can't remember, but it was a fairly decisive victory for the Undead, for the Tomb Kings, and felt very confident moving to the next game. Alright guys, stay tuned for the next game coming up, which I'm going to do a battle report on very shortly, and I hope you enjoyed this one.